In this video, we're going to look at actual surveillance videos of women who were attacked by kidnappers to see what the women did, or in some cases didn't do, to fight off their attackers. The point of this video is to show you that even if you're a smaller woman and you're attacked by a larger guy, there are still things that you can do. You can fight back immediately and aggressively, you can scream and make a lot of noise, and you can make yourself a difficult target in general. Attackers are looking for an easy victim, someone who will go quietly and willingly. So everything you can do to flip the script and make life difficult for him will work to your advantage. And a lot of attackers will realize that you're just not worth the trouble, and they'll give you a chance to get away safely. This video takes place in Philadelphia in the middle of the day. It's like 10 a.m. This young woman is just walking down the street, and out of nowhere, this guy comes up to her, puts her in a bear hug, tries to carry her off. And you see, she doesn't really do anything technically sound, but she just puts up a fight. She swings at him. It looks like she's hitting him in the face with her phone. And this guy just decides, you know what, she's screaming, she's hitting me, she's just not worth it. And he just casually walks off. It's worth noting not only that this was during the middle of the day where people were around, but this guy lived right there in an apartment. He heard her screams, but he didn't do anything. Also, you'll see that there's a couple of guys across the street who are just casually walking by. They also heard her screams and did nothing. And once this woman got away from the guy, she ran across the street over to those two guys because she thought it'd be safer there. But it's just worth noting that even though you might be somewhere in the middle of the day, people are around, there are witnesses, people won't always get involved. They just don't want to risk it. So at least this woman kind of took matters into her own hand. She really went ballistic out at this guy. She really made herself a difficult target, and she was lucky enough to get away. In this video, a 13-year-old girl is walking home from school when a grown man grabs her right outside her house and wrestles with her and tries to carry her off. But as you can see, she does a really good job of fighting off this much larger guy. She just wrestles with him. She screams. She makes a lot of noise. And she just makes herself a difficult target. And at some point, the guy just realizes, you know what? She's making too much noise. It's probably not worth it. And because of that, he runs off, and then she's able to knock on her door. Her dad comes out, her younger brother comes out, and they actually end up confronting this guy, and the police come by and arrest him. It's interesting that, this happened on Long Island. And this girl said in an interview that she noticed this guy was following her for about a half a mile on her way home from school. And so she just kind of paid attention to him and was ready for him. And she's young, so she could be forgiven for this. But if you ever notice that someone is following you home, like you got to make a run for it or run to a neighbor's house, don't wait until the last minute, because this could have turned out much worse. But as it was, she did a good job of fighting him off. The guy got scared off, and she was able to get away. Now we're going to look at a video that didn't go quite so well. It's this woman who gets grabbed by the back of her hair and thrown into a van. If we go back, we have surveillance video that shows that she's walking down the street. Once again, it's the middle of the day in California. This took place in Sylmar. And a van kind of pulls over and tries to cut her off. She just kind of ignores the car. So the sense is that she probably knows this person. They get into some kind of argument. He wants her to go with him. She doesn't want to. But she's not really doing anything to run away. She's just kind of making her case and pleading with him. The guy opens the door for her. She still doesn't get in. And then he just grabs her by the hair and shoves her in the van. And you could even see this guy has a companion in the passenger seat, another woman, and this woman throws a beer bottle out the window, which the police used as evidence. But what's most disturbing about this one is that this woman knows she's in danger. She knows that this guy is hostile. He's following her. He's cutting her off. And she's just kind of ignoring it, hoping the threat will go away. But it doesn't. And this is just a great lesson in why you can't be in denial. You can't just try to talk your way out of things. If you feel that you're in danger, you really need to scream. You need to run away. You need to fight. You need to do something, because this woman is just quickly overpowered. And last I checked, police were still looking for the perpetrator and the victim. Our last video also does not go particularly well, but thankfully it has a happy ending. You can see a woman here late at night. She's a nurse getting home from work, walking home, and a guy approaches her, asks her what time it is, shakes her hand, and holds on to it. And you can see from another angle here, the suspect approaches the woman, asks her what time it is, grabs her hand, and as soon as he has her hand, he grabs her and pulls her down the street, luring her into his car. And you could see he's just dragging her down the street here. And the woman, she really doesn't put up a fight. She can't seem to fight him, but she does throw her phone on the ground and her glasses on the ground, hoping that someone will see that and be able to trace it back to her. Now, what I can tell you about this is that the woman actually survived. 2 days later, they caught the guy, they tracked his car down, and they found the woman in his car, and she was rescued after a 48-hour ordeal. And she told police that when she got in the car, she actually found a hammer on the floor of the guy's car, and she whacked him over the head with it, and he started to bleed, and she thought he was dead. So she bashed out the window and tried to escape, but then he came to and dragged her back into the car and drove off. So she actually had a possibility of killing him and getting away safely, but she just struck him with the hammer once, and that was it. But fortunately, she did survive, and police found her, and 2 days later, and she was okay. In conclusion, here are 5 key takeaways from these videos. First, you'll notice that in every case, the women were alone. When you're alone, that's when you're most vulnerable. So whenever possible, invite a friend along with you. 2, always carry some kind of self-defense weapon with you. You need something that's readily available or in your hand right away, like pepper spray or stun gun or whatever else you choose to carry. It'll make it that much easier for you to get away. 3, pay attention to your surroundings and trust your gut. In several of these cases, the women sensed that someone was following them or that something wasn't right, but they just kind of ignored that feeling. When you sense something isn't right, you need to remove yourself from the situation immediately and get yourself to safety. 4, realize that screaming and making a lot of noise can attract the help of bystanders and can also scare your attacker away. But you have to understand that it won't always work. And 5, remember that attackers are looking for an easy target, a woman who's alone and not paying attention and seemingly incapable of defending herself. So you want to spend some time thinking about how you can make yourself a difficult target.